Alright guys, today's goal, the learner will understand how to translate and classify conic sections. So we've gone over parabolas, circles, hyperbolas, ellipses. But they've always been centered at 0, 0. Now we need to look and realize, okay, so h equals -1, k equals 3. So, and the radius is the square root of 4, which is 2. So instead of starting at 0, 0, now you go to the point h comma k. So -1, 3. There's the center. And then a radius of 2. So go up 2, right 2, down 2, and left 2. And there's your circle. Okay? So remember before we just identified the radius and did the same thing. Instead of moving from 0, 0, you're moving from the center. Okay. So graph the equation, identify the important characteristics of the graph. Okay, so it says, well, this is x squared. So I know 4p equals 8. So p equals 2. And then h comma k, in this case, is 2, -3. Okay? So now we know our vertex is 2, -3. And then what we need is the focus and the directrix. Well, since the x is being squared, the focus is going to be 2 comma k plus p. So 2 comma -1. So there's the focus. The directrix is y equals k minus p. So -3 minus 2. So it's y equals -5. So you know it opens up. And the other important thing is the axis of symmetry. Which is x equals 2. Okay? So there we go. So let's see. This one would be, is this the hyperbola or the ellipse? And it says minus, so it's the hyperbola. So the center is h comma k. So -3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or -3 comma 4. So there's the center, remember? And then to figure out the major vertices and the minor vertices, so you do and x comes first, so these are the major. So you go -3 plus 1 comma, or plus or minus 1 comma k, which is 4. So the major vertice is -2 comma 4 and negative 4 comma 4. So right here and right here. They're the major. Now, the minor are going to be negative 3 comma 4 plus or minus 2. So negative 3 comma 6, negative 3 comma 2. So right here, and then remember we make the little box. And then you draw the diagonals through the box. And you go off the major vertice. Okay? And the axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 3 and y equals 4. It's x equals h and y equals k are both symmetries. Okay? So now we have the ellipse left to graph. So to get the center of the ellipse, h comma k. So the center is going to be 2, 1. So there's the center of our ellipse. And I know A equals, because remember it's the largest. It's whatever's the largest. Okay? So, but A equals 4, B equals 3. So we need C now to get the foci. And remember, it equals C squared equals 16 minus 9. So C would equal the square root of 7. Okay? I'm going to erase that, just make sure. But so now we need to get the major and the minor vertices again. So it's 2 plus or minus the A, which is 4, comma K. So I get negative 2, 1 for the major and 6, 1. So negative 2, 1. And 6, 1. And then the minor, 2 comma 1 plus or minus 3. So 2, negative 2, and 2, 4. And then the foci are 2 plus or minus the square root of 7, comma 1. And let's see, square root of 7 is approximately like 2.5, somewhere around there. So you're going to be looking at the foci being right here, about there. And then the axis of symmetry are again x equals h, y equals k. Okay? So there's graphing all of them when they're not centered at 0. It says write an equation of the conic sections. Okay? So it's a parabola's vertex, so I know h equals 3, k equals -1, so I have this much. X minus 3 equals y plus 1. Now we need to figure out which one's being squared. So I look at the focus. Well, remember when h stays the same, that means the x is being squared. So I know I'm dealing with x minus 3 squared. The quantity x minus 3 squared equals the quantity y. So, but what we have right here is 4p. So I need to find p. Well, -1 plus p equaled 2. So p equals 3. So if I substitute that in, my final equation, x minus 3 squared equals 12 times the quantity y plus 1. So there we go. Okay? So it says hyperbola with vertices of -7, 3, and -1, 3. So here's what you do to get the center. This would work for hyperbola or for ellipse. It's halfway the distance between the two vertices. So you can do -7 plus 1 divided by 2, comma, comma, 3 plus 3 divided by 2. So I get -4, comma, 3. So I now know h is -4 and k is 3. Okay, now to get a, well, I know h minus a equaled -7. So -a equals -3, so a equals 3. Okay, so I got a. I can't do b with anything because it didn't change at all. So c, though, foci deals with c. Well, I know that -4 plus c equaled 1. So c equals 5. So now I have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So b squared equaled 16. So my equation, well, see how it says vertices and the ones that changed were the x? That means that was first. So I have x plus 4 squared divided by 9 minus y minus 3 squared divided by 25, or sorry, not 25, 16 equals 1. Okay? So there we go. Those same steps basically for the ellipse as well. Okay, you just need to be able to apply those equations. All right, identify the lines of symmetry. Okay, well, let's see. This is an ellipse, so the lines of symmetry are the ones that go through the center. So we need this center. Center is 5, 0, so the lines of symmetry here are x equals 5, y equals 0. It's always x equals h, y equals k. Identify the line or lines of symmetry. So this is the parabola. So for the parabola, it's this one's going to open up or down, so you need x equals h. Here we have an ellipse. Sorry, hyperbola. This was ellipse. This is hyperbola. 7 was an ellipse, 9 is the hyperbola. So, but again, it's x equals h, y equals k. Okay? A circle, the reason I didn't put one of those on there is it has infinite. Any line that goes through the center is a line of symmetry. But you could also say, if you wanted to list two of them, you could just say x equals h, y equals k. All right. So it says classifying conics using their equations. Okay, so I don't ever use this, so you don't really need to, but in case you were looking, there is a rule here, but I just get the equation. So let's look at the next. It says classify the conic section and write its equation in standard form, then graph. Okay? So I see x squared, y squared. So I know it's going to be circle, ellipse, hyperbola, so, but this is what I would do. I would regroup them. Now this is what you have to look at. Okay, this is where we got to do some mental things. This is what I do in my head. I'm going to write it over here on the side. But I look at this. I go, if I move that 1 here, could I factor that? Yeah, that's x minus 1 squared. So that's good. So that's what I'm going to do. See, if I did it for this first, can I factor that? Is there anything that multiplies 1 and adds to 4? No. So now I have at least one piece here. I know this is x minus 1 squared. Now what we need to do is complete the square for this. So remember, you do this. You go y squared. Sorry. It's y plus b divided by 2 squared equals. And see how there's this 0 here? Plus b divided by 2 squared. So I have y plus 2 squared equals 0 plus 4. So watch how this moves over to here now. So I change this to y plus 2 squared equals, what's 0 plus 4? 4. So we have a circle. This is the equation in standard form. And it says graph it. So the center is 1, negative 2. The radius is 2. So there's my circle. Okay, let's try another one. Classify the conic section, write its equation in standard form, then graph the equation. I see only one thing being squared, so I know that it's going to be a parabola. So I'm going to leave this over here, and I move the 2x over to the other side. So let's see. Is there anything that we can do that'll multiply to 6 and add to 4? Or negative 4? No. So let's get rid of that negative 6. Or 6 by subtracting 6. So y squared minus 4y equals 2x minus 6. Now I got to complete the square again. So I get y minus b divided by 2 squared equals plus b divided by 2 squared. So I get y minus 2 squared equals 2x minus 6 plus 4. So y minus 2 squared equals 2x minus 2. Now this is what we have to remember to do here for standard form. Factor out that 2. And I'll leave that up to you to graph tonight. I'll see you guys tomorrow.